Hey, what's up, guys? It's Undying OGC here on Original Gaming Culture. So today we're playing Art of Conquest and we're checking out a hero named Virion. So as you can see right here, this is Virion. Virion is he's a pretty awesome swords dude. So let's check him out. Let's read his lore. So this is Virion with the skin of the Mystic Sensei. His lore is after Virion passed the trials of wisdom, the elder masters of Yindo accepted him as a disciple and trained him in the ancient art of the sword. So that means that Virion is pretty much the sword master, which makes sense because in game he's the go-to guy for swordsmen. Let's check out his basic setup. So for his basic setup, when it comes to playing as a human specifically and or with swordsmen, whether they're borrowed or not, as a human, this is a standard setup for him. I use the Teutonic Great Axe because it gives him additional damage mitigation. If you have ever sieged with Virion or PvP'd and he has prematurely died, nobody likes to pre-me. But if he has prematurely died on you, it's horrible because you cannot resurrect your swordsman. It sucks. So I like to keep him alive as long as possible, and I'll do whatever I can to keep him alive if I'm playing human. So that's why I go with the Great Axe. A better option would be a high command item. So whatever it is that gives a bunch of command, that would work much better. It would sync with his masteries much better. But if Virion dies, your masteries aren't going to do you any good. When it comes to his armor set, you have two options. The first is his standard set, and then you have the dragon set. So underneath his standard set, it allows Virion to have the rally ability. Rally ability, it costs 1 energy. It's an active. When you're in PvP or Siege or anything like that, what it does is for any type of troop that can receive a moral boost, they will receive a moral boost. It's a little buggy and at times it doesn't always work, but it's not a bad ability. You can get extra damage out from your archers. If your front line needs additional tankiness, you can always use that. I'll show you how a moral boost will make your front line more tanky once we get into his abilities. Rally does not work on units that do not have moral. So if they're undead, if they're a magical creature, it does nothing for them. The second option is the dragon set. So this set allows him to heal hit nearby units' health. It's a little bit of health. I suppose in the long term it does add up to be quite a bit. However, generally speaking, I prefer the rally ability over it. For right now, I have better stats on my other gear. If I was humanoid, I would consider having this. Although I guess I guess technically speaking though it should affect yeah, it will affect all units, so you don't have to be just humanoid to benefit from this. From there, he has a jewel for an accessory. This gives him +1 to his swordsman mastery. Anything to your masteries will always help you out. And we have his magic prism, which gives +1 to Crusader Resurrection. If you're playing human or you're using swordsman in general, these two accessories are very important, the jewel and the prism. They'll make your swordsman stronger and you'll be able to resurrect more of them. If you are not using swordsman, then those accessories pretty much mean nothing. When it comes to a non-swordsman involved Virion and you just want Virion to tank, this is one setup of many. You can equip him to give whatever stats you want and or need. This is my standard setup. It's nothing special at all. If I have really high stamina boosting gear, I put it on other characters because Virion has some skills that make him naturally tanky. if you are brand new to the game or you start over on a new server, this is a pro tip by the way, you're on a brand new server, you're a couple days into it, maybe a weekend, you want to start crafting flawless gear, your best bet is to work on either Virion or Tyranids to work on upping their stats. Paladin classes in general are very even across the board in their stat distribution. That being said, if you want to be able to craft all the flawless gear out there as soon as possible on a brand new server, your best bet is to go with a paladin, because you'll be able to get as much might, as much magic, as much stamina, and as much command as you need to hit those thresholds to craft gear. The last setup for Virion, as far as gear, is for increasing his command so that you can increase your gold cap. So for this, if you have flawless gear that gives a bunch in command, that works. Any character class that can equip a scepter, equip a scepter for maxing out your gold cap. It hands down the best item in game to increase your gold cap. And for him, I do use the crown. Compared to the normal headgear, which only gives 4 command, the crown gives 9. It's a couple extra bronze troops. If you pay attention to those little details across all of your characters to maximize command, you might end up with a couple extra gold troops at the end of the day. So when we jump into Virion's abilities, this first one is a pretty standard one for humanoids, but let's go over them. First, we have the Light Safeguard. This will allow him to get a bubble, kind of like in World of Warcraft, where the paladins there got like that bubble where like nothing could harm them for a period of time temporarily. That's pretty much what this does. Virion hits 50% health. He gets a bubble. The bubble reduces 95% of all the damage he takes. So pretty much he's not going to die with that bubble up. At low levels, get 7-8 seconds out of it. Once the safeguard starts to get maxed out, you'll get over 20 seconds out of it, which is a very long time to have a bubble like that up. Important thing to note, if a dwarf sniper has enough attack to one-shot Virion in one sniper round, his bubble will not pop up and he will just die before the bubble even goes off. So when his health drops below 50%, it takes a split second for that bubble to appear around him. So if you're fighting against a dwarf and their snipers hit him and get headshots, assuming that their attack is high enough, they could just kill him before the bubble pops. Next, we have Summon Swordsman. We'll be looking at this much more in depth later on. If what it does is it summons swordsmen to come and assist and fight. Your command increases their strength. Having a higher level will take them from bronze to silver and eventually to gold swordsmen. If you do use this skill because you are not a human player, you play another race or you're in the Dragon's Abyss, and you use this skill, you want it to be as high as possible because you want gold swordsmen. Silver swordsmen will run, they'll flee from the battle. Gold swordsmen, sorry, that's a mouthful for me. Gold swordsmen will never run. They will die right where they're standing. Their morale will never collapse. The good people have your back. From there, we have Lionheart Blade. Lionheart Blade gives him a 25% chance to deal a little bit of extra damage and heal himself for a little bit more. Your might and damage both affected. I'm sorry, your might and your magic. Magic will increase the healing, might increase his damage. Both the Safeguard and the Lionheart Blade, no matter what type of build you're going for Virion, you should always have at least 1 point into those. Next, we have Swordsman Mastery. So if you are using Swordsman, or say you're a dwarf player and you borrow 4 packs of Swordsman from your friends because they trust you for some reason. Hopefully they are not like a Jenka and going out there just to kill your Swordsman, but Assuming somebody gives you swordsman or you have your own swordsman, you want to have swordsman mastery. It boosts their damage and their health. Having higher command will also give you a few extra percentages. From there, we have Crusader Shield. So whenever friendly troops get a moral boost, they take reduced damage. This affects any unit that can get a moral boost. It does not have to be swordsman, and it does not have to be of the human race. If you play Rockin', you will want this maxed out, because once your Rockin' swordsmen or your Rockin' monks start having a moral boost chain go off and everyone starts lighting up all gold and they're doing their little monkey thing flying around with their sidekicks and stuff, once that goes off, if you have Virion out there with high level of Crusader Shield, they're all of a sudden going to take a lot less damage. They're going to be a pain in the butt to kill. So that's a very good skill if you are not human but you are using humanoids. And the last thing is Crusader Resurrection. This will revive friendly swordsmen, footmen, etc. This skill allows humans to actually siege without taking losses. More often than not, you're going to lose your archers, not your swordsmen. So the swordsmen march up, some will die, and at the end of the fight, or after you kill off all the enemy units, you just hit Resurrect on Virion. All of a sudden, all of your swordsmen come back alive. It's important to note, though, when it comes to getting revived, that is the wrong one. We need something a little bit stronger. This will do. When it comes to resurrecting your swordsman, you have to be careful of fighting Lich. Lich has mummies and conjurers. Mummies and conjurers also resurrect during the fight. They'll resurrect any humanoid. So if a swordsman dies, they cannot be resurrected twice. They're either going to get resurrected from the mummies in the Lich units, or they're going to get resurrected from your Virion. And it's whichever one comes first. So typically with Virion, it's towards the end of the fight, or right when the fight's about to end, that you do the resurrect. If that's the case, and you're fighting against Lich that are using mummies and conjurers that live to the end, none of your swordsmen are going to come back through Virion. The reason for that is they're all going to have already been resurrected through the evil undead underworld of conjurers and mummies. So this makes sieging or humans fighting Lich a little dangerous, especially their towers or garrisons, because people will stick in a couple packs of mummies just to disrupt Virion's Resurrect. So again, Resurrect is very good, but one unit cannot be resurrected multiple times. It can only be resurrected once. The game doesn't care if it's resurrected by your side or the enemy side. If you are fighting against humans, you can also screw them over with Gazul doing Resurrect. So if Gazul does Resurrect, it works the same way as the mummies. One unit or one swordsman can only be resurrected once in the battle. It cannot be resurrected multiple times. So it's whichever comes first. So little pro tip there, if you fight against humans that are using swordsmen. If you're losing the PvP, but you kind of want to, screw them over a little bit, a little salty. If you want to throw some salt on the wound, do Resurrect in the last second as Gazul. They'll love you for it. So that's pretty much his skills. When it comes to how to skill him for humans that use swordsmen. So if you are of the human race, just throw a point into his safeguard, throw a point into his Lionheart Blade, max out Swordsman Mastery, max out Crusader Resurrection, and as many points into Crusader Shield as possible. If you have a low level safeguard, because you're playing human, do not put Virion on the front line. Put Virion in the back. If Virion dies, he cannot resurrect your swordsman. Your swordsmen are toast. If you are not playing as a human and you are any other race and you are not borrowing any swordsmen are not in the picture at all, feel free to max out Safeguard. Once Safeguard is maxed out, feel free to throw Virion on the front line. He'll live for a little bit. 23 seconds that he'll take 95% less damage unless he gets sniped beforehand. You can throw some points into Summon Swordsman. You max out Lionheart Blade, that will keep him alive even longer. And you'll probably want to get points in Crusader Shield. I don't, simply because I play Slith, everything's magical creatures. I have no moral. I also have no soul. I'm soulless. For the Dragon's Abyss, I run this to make Virion a little bit more tanky than usual. Some Summon Swordsman, Swordsman Mastery. I skipped the Crusader Shield for the Dragon's Abyss because the Swordsman and all of the humanoid units, really, they aren't going to win the game for me besides the Archers, and the Archers shouldn't need damage reduction. If they're getting damaged, they're all going to die anyways. So I skipped that and instead got a couple points into the Resurrection so that Virion and the pack of Swordsmen can tank a whole side of the map a little bit longer. So all that being said, let's go check out and see what Virion can actually do. I want to find some ninjas, that way they can hopefully... Aha, I got some ninjas. So the first thing I'll say about Virion is this skin is awesome. If you have not seen this skin and the animations that go with it, it is amazing. The developers at Art of Conquest, when it comes to the art and the flow of the game in general, props, guys. You guys are doing great. So let's see how it goes for him. Virion runs out. Oh geez, we got ninjas everywhere. Let's summon some swordsmen. As you can see with the spinning swords around him, that is the spinning blue ball around him is the bonus from the Safeguard Shield. That's his bubble. He's going to take a lot less damage. What I selected right now is his rally ability. This comes from the equipment, so we'll put that on his swordsman to give him moral boosts to get them out there. And now, as soon as Virion's bubble goes down, Virion's going to die a horrible death. But until then, he can kind of tank pretty well. And as you can see, his summoned swordsmen they do pretty good at tanking. So one last example. Hopefully, I can get it to work. It's not necessarily easy, but I wanna show you it because this will help you in Dragon's Abyss. This will help you if you're struggling in the hero stages. It will help you in all of that. So underneath the HP bar for the swordsman, you can see that white line that's slowly trickling down. That's the timer for the swordsman and how much time and duration they have left until they get pulled out of the map. So what you can do is right before that timer is about to go out, you can hit Crusader Resurrection. If you hit that, whatever summoned swordsman you have that died, although they're past their duration of that timer, they'll be resurrected and they'll be there until the end of the battle or they die. So let's see if we can get this to work. We failed on that one. Let's try this once more. Alright, so we want to get these swordsmen out. Let's do that so they move a little bit faster. Hopefully we got some in here that die. You'll tell if they get resurrected because you'll see like a nice big blue screen. Aha. We have the lone one over here. So he no longer has the duration underneath him. He no longer has the HP above him, but he is the equivalent of the swordsman that was there that just died. So that can be useful in the Dragon's Abyss or any time that you need to tank with Virion. Solely because it's like getting twice as many swordsmen out of his summons. So with that being said, quick takeaways so that you know what to do with Cliff Note version. Setup: if you're using swordsman and or you're human, run both the prism and the jewel. That way, Virion's abilities will benefit his swordsman. He can resurrect more, have more mastery. Always get at least 1 point into late Safeguard and into Lionheart Blade. Crusader Shield for the damage reduction affects all races. And with that, hopefully you guys saw something interesting. and please like and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you have not shared these videos yet, please log on to your MySpace. Talk to Tom from MySpace, send him this video, let him see it, show it to your friends. Another way you can do it is go onto your Neopets account, put it in your store, add it into the HTML coding. That way this video just pops up whenever anybody goes into your Neopets store. If you play, what is it, the town, yeah, any of those things, just feel free to do that, and have a great day, guys.